Russell Wilson has been benched for the last 2 games of the season. He's already missed one, and now he's going to miss the next one. And the accusations are running absolutely wild. Here was the situation. If he's injured in the last 2 games of the year, the Broncos would have to pay him $37 million guaranteed for the next season. His contract really kicks in next year. He already got his $38 million, I believe it was, guaranteed for this year because he was good coming into the 2023 year, just like they don't want to have his 2025 money kick in if for some reason in this early part of 2024 he would get injured in the last 2 games of the year. Russell Wilson is immediately out here blasting them, saying the Broncos told him if he didn't redo his contract that they would bench him. And the NFLPA's come out and said that that was essentially illegal. And I can understand that. I can side with that. Because if you're going to, in one breath, tell me that if I don't correct my contract and the injury clause in it, that you're going to bench me, but you're also going to come out here and tell me to win games with the kind of volatile head coach that Sean Payton is, which I stand corrected and wrong on that. I stand corrected about 50-50 on that. I do believe Sean Payton fixed Russell Wilson. I do believe Sean Payton fixed the Broncos. It was too little too late. He had to have 70 points dropped on his head and start 1-5 before he goes on to be eliminated at about a 500 record. And it would have been a great turnaround for Sean Payton as well. But I think it's absolutely insane that people still want Russell Wilson to fail at this magnitude. Because it doesn't make sense to me. Russell Wilson is one of the few legends, if not the only legend that I've seen, next to the recent times of Peyton Manning, who was also a Denver Bronco, to where that one bad season, which it was really bad, don't get me wrong. That one really bad season, you're just going to throw all that away from Russell Wilson. All the MVP play, all the playoff wins, the Super Bowl appearances, the Super Bowl win. I get it. It was 10 years ago. I get that. But to act like Russell Wilson has not played at a good quarterback level this year, knowing how piss poor he was under Nathaniel Hackett, and Sean Payton had fixed him by about the middle 2/3 of the season and had him throwing more touchdowns and less interceptions already this year than was in his entire year last year. At least that stands correct for the touchdown parts. Interceptions, obviously, because he hasn't played all the games yet. But Russell Wilson is undeniably a better quarterback this year under Sean Payton. And I just think it's nuts that some people are saying Russell Wilson played his last game. A legend can have one off season and people will call him washed. And that blows my damn mind. He's been with 2 coaches in 2 systems in 2 years. It's been a bumpy ride with Denver. I said it when I was still with Petty Sports. New owner, new head coach, team had just been sold, so new owner. And he had a brand new quarterback coming in who had a rough exit with his team in the Seattle Seahawks. And now it's been a very bumpy ride with the Denver Broncos. Now, I got to give some respect to Sean Payton. He comes out and he says, I can't replace the whole offensive line or the whole wide receiver room. He did call out the Broncos offense as a whole. And obviously, when you're a quarterback who's got a $200+ million contract and the team traded the house for you because of what you were and what you are supposed to be, the captain of the team who makes the most money, they're going to start it there. They're going to sit you down. They're going to reprimand you. And honestly, when you look at it, it's very simple. They want to get out from under that contract. Now, do I think it's a little premature? Yes, because of what surrounded Russell Wilson. But the Broncos paid that money. The Broncos traded all those assets and all that capital for Russell Wilson. So now the Broncos are faced to make a decision. And if they would have signed Russell Wilson to a more reasonable contract, this type of decision wouldn't have to be made. Because now people are saying Russell Wilson might have played his last game and he's expected to be released or cut in March. Absolutely insane to me. It has been a clear turnaround from season 1 to season 2 with Russell Wilson, from Nathaniel Hackett to Sean Payton. And yes, I came on here and I said that Russell Wilson and Sean Payton were going to bring things out of each other that we never saw. Did that necessarily happen? No. Did Sean Payton trust Russell Wilson's arm? No. It seemed like he still had kind of that Drew Brees mentality. I need to tailor it around my quarterback and not for my quarterback. Yes, there is a difference there in order for Russell Wilson to succeed. But to know the type of coach that Sean Payton is, and to know that it's playing out this way with Russell Wilson honestly baffles me. I think it would be hilarious and honestly just wild as hell if the Broncos actually moved off of him. Is his play lining up to his contract? No. Russell Wilson played a bad stretch of about 20 games. Let's just say that for conversation's sake. He's had more bad games than good games. All of last season was bad. Russell Wilson, up until the point of the Broncos started winning after they started 1-5, was bad. If Russell Wilson had, and maybe this is a dumb moment for you guys, if Russell Wilson would have had a season last year, so if this year's season would have happened last year and then also this year, so basically let's just say within 2 years, Russell Wilson's thrown for 50 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, for conversation's sake, with the Denver Broncos. They're not having this conversation. But that contract is very simple. That contract is not bearing well for them because it kicks in and then he's going to make 37, and he's going to make 40, and he's going to make 45, and then he's going to make 50. And an expensive quarterback contract is one of the most invaluable things in the NFL. We're watching the Chiefs go through it right now. Tyreek Hill has left, and the offense is rough. And yes, they lost Bieniemy, which is a good part of that. But low cash equals hard to get weapons. Josh Allen has a big contract. Joe Burrow has a big contract. Jalen Hurts has a big contract. Justin Herbert has a big contract. I've always said the NFL's kind of going in the wrong way. Hell yes, pay these guys. They are the face of your franchise, the most important position in the sport, and you are nothing without it. But these $55 and $60 million deals are ruining NFL franchises. And this is a prime example of it right here, because I will sit here and tell you right now, I'm going to be pissed if Russell Wilson gets the same type of treatment. It's not the same treatment, but when Matt Ryan left Atlanta, Falcons were ready to push him out. I thought Matt Ryan could have been good with the Colts. And yes, he was out of his prime compared to maybe Russ being slightly out of his prime. But I don't want to see another veteran and damn near legend get this type of mistreatment. Because when Matt Ryan went to the Colts, things around him were not well. Frank Reich couldn't decide between Sam Ehlinger and him and the players he wanted to start. And now you have the Broncos in the middle of a sale when Russell Wilson came over. Nathaniel Hackett, one of the worst coaching jobs in history. And now he's with Sean Payton, who I got to speak on Sean Payton now, because now that this part has played out, it does kind of bug me. Because, you know, what I see now is Sean Payton basically faked a retirement to get out of New Orleans because he knew it was going to be hard without Drew Brees. He didn't get to pick his quarterback here with Russell Wilson. And immediately out the gate, he's like, worst coaching job in NFL history, talking about Nathaniel Hackett. Russ, you need to quit kissing babies and shaking hands. Drew Brees was one of the biggest handshakers and baby kissers in New Orleans. That's why he's got the status of what he does in New Orleans. But I think Sean Payton wanted a little bit of a power trip. He wanted to feel like maybe it was New Orleans again, like he had to take over a laughingstock, which it was last year as a 5-12 team in the Denver Broncos. But Sean Payton, I wouldn't even say he was in over his skis, but he definitely knocked Russell Wilson down from the moment he came in. Stop shaking hands, stop kissing babies. Wasn't it a reality check? Yeah. But it felt like he was trying to change Russell Wilson for the player that he was. And credit to Russ for being professional, saying that God, you know, his Lord and Jesus Christ, which I'm totally behind him for, has a plan for him. Letting Sean Payton go off on him on the sidelines multiple times just to possibly get that provocation from Russell Wilson. That's the lady calling me in the middle of the show, and I think the phone just died. Yep, it did. But she's got my food. Shout out to the future wifey. Love you, babe. Always appreciate your support. Always putting on for me. Bringing me home some amazing food. But anyways, Sean Payton has cut down Russell Wilson a lot this year. He has had some weird antics with the Denver Broncos this year. And because he didn't get to pick his own quarterback in the way that this season is happening, he could possibly be released, Russell Wilson, and he's already been benched. Do I think it's on Russ with his possible level of play to consider the price reduction in his contract because of how he's played? Absolutely. If he wants to stay a Denver Bronco, he might not want to be. He might not want to be under Sean Payton's vision. And this is a lot to grasp. To realize that it's played out this way for Sean Payton, it almost feels like it's well deserved because you don't get to leave a city and a team that you've built in the New Orleans Saints and immediately try to get success. And don't get me wrong, I was rooting for the Broncos a lot this year. I was rooting for the Broncos to win the Super Bowl. I made multiple videos about them. I thought they were going to be in the AFC Championship. I thought Russell Wilson was going to play better. Russell Wilson did not play better until about a third of the way through the year. And I made a video. Y'all blew it up for me. Sean Payton fixed Russell Wilson. And I really think he did. But also in the same breath, if someone came to you at your job, shout out Shannon Sharp for saying this on Nightcap because fans are really quick to do this. And I want to pose this question before we get out of the show. If you make $200,000 a year and your employer comes to you and asks you to take a $50,000 pay cut because they want to pay the HR person, are you cool with that? I bet you every single one of you would say no. Most of you in the public eye would say no. And me included, I would say no. I'm also the quick one to turn around and tell an athlete to take a pay cut based on their performance. And now I have a different vision to that. Because if Russell Wilson was willingly given that contract, that fat ass extension by the Denver Broncos, and all those players were traded for him, why should he rightfully take that pay cut? He was locked into that. They agreed to that up front. If not, he'll take his guaranteed money and ride. Do I think he should because of what's happening and his play not necessarily adding up? Yes. And if the last season would have happened, if last season wouldn't have happened, if this season would have been like last season, or excuse me, if this season, hell, hold on, Adam. If last season would have been played out like this season, again, 50 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, I don't think they're having a conversation about this. I really don't because that's solid play. Maybe not to the level of a $230 million quarterback or $225 million, whatever it was. But I think it would be crazy to see Russell Wilson get benched. Not to see Russell Wilson get benched. To see Russell, because he's already been benched. To see Russell Wilson get released and possibly cut. Because I'm going to tell you right now, there's NFL teams out there that want him. Maybe not for that price tag. Maybe he doesn't want to sign for a discount. But I could see Russ going to another team, taking a discount in a more stable organization. To get out of this. Saints. But people do have a in point. You got 70 dropped on your head earlier in the year after you made the horrible comments that you did, after scolding Russell Wilson the way that you did, trying to change him the way that you did. And I'm not going to completely tear Sean Payton down for that because he coaches hard. That's what he did. That's how he was in New Orleans. We heard the reports of Sean Payton kind of being an asshole in Louisiana with the Saints. But he wasn't daring to treat Drew Brees like that. Maybe it's because Drew Brees won a Super Bowl. Oh, wait, so did Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson went to back-to-back. Now, yes, should Sean Payton have coached 2 or maybe 3 Super Bowls? 100%, because we saw the Saints go on those runs. But this handling of Russell Wilson and benching him, because if he gets hurt, they're going to have to guarantee the money next year, that speaks for it. They want to get out of the contract. They don't want to take the risk, and those parameters more than likely show that he's moving on.